Well, I actually haven't run my chainsaw for a good month. Over a month. Well, my back was acting up, so it's, sometimes better to take it easy. But I am feeling pretty good now, or, getting better. So it's about time I go at it again. But now the gas that had been in this tank and the gas that was in the saw has been in there for 30 days or over 30 days. You really don't want to do that. Anything over 30 days, it's better to just dump the gas. I had like 3/4 of a can here, and I just dumped it into the M37 because a 4-stroke doesn't really care, and especially the M37 really doesn't care if a little bit of 2-stroke oil is in it. And I mixed up some fresh. I use that 91 octane, no alcohol or no ethanol, and that's important. But a couple of things I was going to mention. When you mix gas, make sure to rinse out these containers. Just pour them in, you don't get it all out. Then fill it with gas, shake it up, and then pour that back in. Make sure you get all of it in there. But there was something, these are made to mix with 1 gallon of gas. And when I got this Combi-can, I did a video on it, and that was probably 2 years ago. And at the time, there was somebody who made a comment, oh, his fell apart. He stripped the threads out and broke the nozzles and, claimed they were a piece of junk. There's always somebody who's going to do that. Well, I tell you, I've been really happy with this can. I have no regrets about buying it. The only problems, if you could call it a problem, these things, the calibration is in liters. So you got to figure out where a gallon falls on that scale. Well, that's not really a design problem, that's more of an EPA problem, because these things aren't made to be sold in this country. Here they'd have to be red, and they would have to have some kind of crazy safety thing that takes 3 hands to operate. Well, the rest of the world doesn't need it, so you don't often run across these for sale. Here, I had to order this one in, but I really like it. And it's got where when you put it on the tank, you press on it, and it'll fill the tank up to that level, and it automatically shuts off. It comes with either nozzle. I mean, there's this same design for the oil, but a problem I ran into is a lot of my wood cutting is done with my 55 Rancher. The old ones have too small of an oil hole for this automatic type filler. So I put the manual one on, which in winter, these automatic ones in winter with oil, it really doesn't work that well anyway. It's extremely slow. But otherwise, this has been a great tool. It holds your files very securely in your wrench. And it's got that toolbox that closes securely, but is big enough to hold, like your grease gun. And I got the Allen wrenches that I need. Because there's 2 Allen wrenches that'll do about everything on the saw. But I've also got a wrench in here for my Alaskan sawmill. Got a couple of chain guides, 2 different style depth gauges. Just handy, keeps everything where I need it. You just take the saw on this thing and go cutting. But like I say, there was somebody had complaints about it. Now the only thing I could see is if this person was running an ethanol blended gas, that could very easily screw up the plastic, because I think he said he broke these or something. But I tell you, this thing's been banged around in the loader bucket in the back of the M37. It takes a beat, and I have never had any problem with it. You know, just a good, solid tool. But while I was filling this up, then I also went with this, that all-season oil, because we're flirting right around the freezing mark now. A lot of times in the morning, you know, it's just barely above freezing, so I thought, okay, I got this stuff, I'll use that up. But, you know, normally I'm a firm believer in the lightweight stuff for winter, and the heavyweight stuff for in summer, especially when I'm doing those long rip cuts and stuff. Now that brings up another thing. Again, just the other day I saw somebody doing a video saying, you know, he fills his chain, his oil, like every 3 or 4 tanks of gas. You top it up every time. If you got the saw down, you know, how hard is it to do the oil at the same time you're doing the gas? You know, it's right there. If you run that out of oil, that chain is going to burn out in very short order. And the thing is, if you can run 4 tanks of gas through a saw and not be out of oil, you really got to check your oiling system. There's something wrong there. The line is plugged, or even just the feed in here is plugged. There's something wrong if you could run that much oil. They really should. You should have like a third of a tank of oil left when you run out of gas. That's the way they're balanced out. The same way this can is balanced out. You got this much gas, this much oil. It'll be about a third full when this tank is empty. That's how it works. If it doesn't work that way, you really got to look at it, you know, because you can't be starving that chain. You know, that's why I'm not a big fan of the all-season idea, because I know when it gets real cold, that's going to be way too thick. You know, you're a lot better off, you know, switching to an Arctic oil when it gets below freezing. But I figure right now I got 2 gallons of this stuff. Now is the time to burn this up. You know, I don't care for that idea. Because even on here it says, you know, well, if it gets below freezing, of course, then you got to change the other oil. Well, then what the hell is the point of it? Yeah. Down to 32 degrees. Well, but in winter, you know, this is the way to go with this orange cap stuff. That's the Arctic oil. But there again, like if some saws you can adjust, some you cannot. If you can't adjust your oiling system, make sure that your oiling system is all cleaned out. Make sure there isn't a screen plugged someplace or something going on. And then adjust the flow by adjusting the weight of the oil that you're using. But you shouldn't be able to run that long on oil. It's no savings. You're going to pay for it in bars and chains. You know, so try to calculate that out. Don't let that happen. But I've seen it. You know, I've seen people bragging, "Oh, my saw hardly uses any oil," but it sure goes through chains. But that's why I was going to bring this up again, because I remember, you know, there's always somebody who has a problem with anything. And I know that guy said, "Oh, no, they're a piece of junk. I wrecked mine right away." Well, that's on you. That ain't on the can. This is really a very good can. If I was to somehow wreck this one, I would quickly buy another one, because I really like them. It's just handy to be able to carry your tools and stuff, have everything you need right there, you know. It's hard to beat that. But some people are just that way. You know, they have problems with everything. But I have no real problem with this can. Like I said, the only thing would have been that, you know, that I can't use the automatic spout if I'm running my 55 because it's too big. and the fact that the calibrations are on liters. But there again, that isn't the company's fault. They were never intended to be sold here. Like you couldn't go up to a gas pump and fill one of these up. They shut the pump off. They don't like. It's got to be red. You know, like this kind of red. It can't be that orange. But I always keep. I got 4 of those 20-liter cans full of fresh stuff. But I'll use that up, you know, before that gets old. And it really isn't so much a problem with the gas sitting in the can, because those are great cans and they really seal. It's a problem of once you mix the gas and the oil. A thing to do sometime, if you have some mix that's been sitting around for a while, if you take off the cap and look in there, shine a light in there, and if you see little dark beads rolling around in the bottom, what it is, it's the additive that has separated out from the oil. And if you run that, you will seize up the piston. It'll score the piston. That additive, you know, these things are a miracle that they can run. You know, 50 to 1 is just a crazy. You know, I grew up when we were mixing things 20 to 1. You know, so 50 to 1, that works and works so well. You know, that's, like I say, a miracle. So like I say, rinse them out, but if you see, you know, if you see those like dark colored beads rolling around in there, that's that gas you need to dump. If you see a clear colored bead, that's water. You know, that's a whole nother deal. Though if you have ethanol in there, you won't see it. But boy, you don't really want to run ethanol. I mean, it screws up everything. I know there's like an 89 octane ethanol that I'm afraid maybe some places that's all you can get. And the saws are actually, they can handle that, but they're advised that you don't try doing something like ripping or anything like that with them. You know, that's too much. It really takes that 91 or higher octane alcohol free. And like I said, I'm glad I can still get that here. But there is nothing wrong with these cans, except that you can't buy them here. Unless you do, you know, like, I don't even remember where mine was shipped from, but you know what, you can get them off eBay, and I have heard of some suppliers that carry them, but like I say, they're really not EPA approved. They're too good a can. EPA's got to have some horrible piece of crap. So I'm sure those really aren't EPA approved either. Well, maybe if you use this little locking device they got on them, that sort of thing. But, you know, we've got regulations that just make life tougher. This actually works very, very well. Just so convenient.